What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the Motorola Moto G 5G 2022. So let's get started. Now, to see the most up-to-date pricing and availability for this device, definitely take a look at the various links in the video description, as I'm sure that will be changing as time goes on. This device does feature an MSRP of $399, but even right away, I was able to get the phone for less than the MSRP, and I'm sure that at the various carriers, they'll be offering their own deals as well. So again, definitely make sure to look at all the various deals out there, as I'm sure nobody will have to pay full price for this device, which is certainly a really good thing because Motorola really is asking for quite a bit for a phone that doesn't necessarily have the most high-end specifications. But we'll get more into that in this video. Now, before I show you a variety of different things about the phone, let's take a closer look and see what all comes included here in the box. So you can see Moto G 5G. Then on the back of the box, we have some regulatory information. But included in the box is some literature. We have a SIM card removal tool. We have a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. And we have a 10-watt USB wall adapter. So it is nice that we at least get a charger included in the box, as this is something that we don't get quite as much nowadays. Now, the Moto G 5G 2022 is factory unlocked, at least if you get the factory unlocked model, which is great because you can then use it with any carrier of your choosing. Now, this device does feature a pretty large 6.5-inch display. The display itself is IPS LCD, and it is a 90 Hz display. So we are getting a bit of a faster refresh rate compared to phones that have 60 Hz as the refresh rate, which has pretty much been the standard up until a couple of years ago. So it is nice that we do have that premium touch here, but unfortunately, with this phone, we do have a 720p display. So it is pretty wild that despite this device being a mid-range phone, it does have 720p as the display. Now, thankfully, things do look decent here, and colors are not too bad either, but I do wish it was 1080p. Now, we are getting a PPI of 270, a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor, and we're getting an 81.4% screen-to-body ratio. So relatively small bezels, however, the bottom bezel is a little bit on the thicker side. And then up top here, we do thankfully have a hole punch for the front-facing camera. Now, that front camera is 13 megapixels, and stay tuned for my full review video of this device, as I'll be showing you a variety of different photo and video samples from all the various cameras here on the phone. Now, one of the good things about this device that does kind of justify what they're asking for it is the amount of storage we're getting. Now, with this phone, we are getting 256 gigabytes of internal storage, and along with that, we are also getting microSD card expansion. So if for some reason 256 gigs is not enough for you, then you can always add in a microSD card to offload photos and videos, for example. So I suppose that if you're looking for a phone that gives you the most amount of internal storage for the most affordable price, then at $399, this phone does give you a lot more storage than any iPhone could at that price tag. But again, if I had to guess, most people will only be paying a fraction of the MSRP of this device, and I'm expecting the carriers especially to probably be selling this phone for free if you move in from another carrier. So we'll have to see what deals pop up as time goes on. But again, definitely look into those various deals, as that will make this phone a lot more compelling of an option. Now, there's no wireless charging with the Moto G 5G 2022, but we do have a fingerprint sensor on the power button. So we'll give that a try right now. So very fast and responsive. We'll try that one more time. So certainly very accurate there. So I'm glad we have that, and in addition to that, this phone also supports face unlock. So it is nice that we do have multiple methods for getting into the phone. Now, taking a look at the back of the device, we do have a triple camera setup. So there's a 50 megapixel main camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images, and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera to assist with portrait mode. And this phone does have portrait mode for both the rear and front cameras, which is really nice. So we're now in the camera app, and here's how things look with the main 50 megapixel camera. Then from here, we can switch over to the macro camera to get very close up here. And as you can see, things are nice and crisp and clear. We can then head over to portrait mode to get those blurred out backgrounds. And then we can flip around to the front facing camera to do the same thing. So we can take portrait selfies and also standard selfies. So it is nice that we have that option. Now, in addition to that, there is a pro mode here, which is pretty cool. So if you really want to customize things, then you can do that here. You can also pick what kind of file you want the picture to be taken in. So there's both RAW, JPEG, and a mixture of the two. We can also go over to the More tab, and then there's a bunch of other options here as well. So this one's pretty cool, dual capture. So you can capture a selfie and a rear camera picture at the same time. There we go, just took that, and we'll see how that looks. And there you go, got the selfie here, and then the rear camera right there. And you can do that same thing for video as well. So it is cool that we have all these various options. Not only do we have a bunch of different cameras, but also a bunch of different features to take advantage of those cameras. Now, as far as the RAM and processor go, with the Moto G 5G 2022, we have 6 gigabytes of RAM paired up with the MediaTek Dimensity 700 5G processor. So as the name of the phone and processor imply, this phone is compatible with 5G connectivity, so that certainly is a nice thing. I don't think it's necessarily essential at this point in 2022, but on the other hand, you are best off getting a phone that will utilize your carrier's most up-to-date and modern networks. Now, I did run a Geekbench 5 benchmark test with this device, and here is the score from that test. So I got a single-core score of 541 and a multi-core score of 1550. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare these scores to your scores to get a better idea of whether or not this phone will be a performance upgrade for you. But in general, I've been pretty happy with the performance from the device. Certainly having that faster refresh rate does help quite a bit, kind of giving you the illusion of the phone being a bit faster. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with the configuration that we're getting here related to the performance of the phone. Now, unfortunately, video recording with this device is limited at 1080p at 30 FPS with both the front and rear cameras, so no 4K video recording with this phone. But thankfully, we do get a really large 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery. So you'll definitely get at least a day, if not two, of usage out of the Moto G 5G 2022. So I'm glad that Motorola did decide to give this phone a very large battery. Now, as far as software goes here, the phone is running Android 12, and this is almost close to stock Android. Motorola does an awesome approach when it comes to their software in the sense that they take the best parts of stock Android and keep it as is, but then they add in a variety of their own features into the operating system. But what's nice is the features they do add in are not gimmicky features or features they're putting in there just to change things. They are genuinely useful features, and I'm certainly looking forward to getting into more detail regarding that in my dedicated tips and tricks video about this device, which will be coming out soon. Now, unfortunately, with this device, there is no NFC, which is very frustrating. I'm a big fan of NFC. That's the technology that's used for mobile contactless payments. So if you want to do tap and pay from your smartphone, that's the hardware that's necessary to make that feature possible. And that is not to be found here with this phone. So if you do like to make mobile payments, as I definitely do, then you'll have to find something different from this device. But now that we've gone over the various features and highlights of the Moto G 5G 2022, let's take a closer look at the hardware of the phone. I already talked quite a bit about the front panel here, but essentially we are getting a little bit of a thicker bottom bezel, but it is nice that we're at least getting a hole punch for the front-facing camera. Now, this phone is made completely out of plastic, besides the display, which is glass. But taking a look at the left side of the phone, we have the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. Then on the right side of the phone, we have volume up and volume down, and also the fingerprint sensor, which doubles as the power button. Then up top here, we have the noise-canceling microphone. And then on the bottom of the phone, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the speaker. And then on the back of the device, we have the Motorola logo and the camera module with the flash. And I do appreciate that the finish on the back of the phone is a matte finish. I do think it looks very nice, and it doesn't pick up too many fingerprints, but at the same time, you still can see some of the fingerprints. So I wish they did give this phone a different material that didn't pick up fingerprints, but at the same time, I do prefer this over a device with the glossy back. So in general, I'm actually pretty excited about the Motorola Moto G 5G 2022, not necessarily in the sense that we're getting the best value here at MSRP, but in the sense that I have a feeling this phone is going to be offered with very generous discounts as kind of a method for the various carriers to get you to switch in from another carrier. That's something that's been very common over the last decade or so when it comes to carriers offering phones for free, or at least at a big discount. So if you end up getting this phone through a method such as that, then I definitely think it will be a good deal, and you'll likely be very happy with it. But this concludes my hands-on and first impressions video of the Motorola Moto G 5G 2022, and most importantly, I'm curious to know what you think about this device. So definitely let me know in the comment section below, but this is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next video.